of all, this is a big group, and I may be the oldest guy in the room. And you were talking about pine trees earlier, Tino. I think I drove through about half of those millions of trees this morning, so bear with me. I feel like I've swallowed a golf ball this morning. I'm thrilled to be here, and my area to talk about is the fintech area, which a lot of you are in. And I wanted to talk about, I guess really there's no better way to talk about that than to talk about something that I know very well, and that's TSYS. And I wanted to take just a few minutes and tell you about TSYS. And we believe it's one of it will lead you to believe that it's one of the great reasons that Georgia is, in fact, a great state for financial technology. We started really around 1966. That's probably long before most of you were born in here, and I'm happy to say I wasn't there when we started. But that is when a local bank in Columbus, Georgia got their first computer. And it was Columbus Bank and Trust Company. Back in those days, there was no software for credit card processing. We started to develop our own credit card processing. We have pictures of our very first computer. It weighed about 1.5 tons, and I think it had much, much less storage and power than those iPhones that you're carrying in your pocket. TSYS emerged out of Columbus Bank and Trust Company. We really were like a lot of companies in this room, I would think. We came up with the idea late one night at a local restaurant. We drew it out on the back of a napkin in 1974. We wish we still had that napkin, so I would urge you to save things like that. And we actually, during those days, were licensing the software for banks who wanted to enter the credit card processing business. Our software, we were one of the first people to actually have what you would laugh about today, and that was an online system. Everybody else in the world had batch systems. And so we got a pretty good jump on everybody. I will never forget the first customer that we signed, which was down in St. Petersburg, Florida. And before we signed them, we had to do a proof of concept, and that was to run a data line to St. Pete and to go down and show them that we could remotely process. We called Southern Bell and we said, we need a line run to St. Petersburg, and we're going to hook a modem up to it and everything's going to be fine. And they said, we don't think we can do that. We don't know how to do that. About 2 weeks later, they got back with us and said, we figured out how to do it, and it's going to take us about 6 months. And times have changed a heck of a lot since then. Today, we offer processing services for credit cards, debit, prepaid, mobile, chip, healthcare, installment, money transfer, commercial cards, and many other specialized products that we service around the world. Our processing and license systems touch nearly 50% of all the credit transactions in the world. Nearly 25% of all credit card transactions in the U.S. are processed in some form or fashion at TSYS. We have commercial relationships with 9 out of the top 10 banks. In the U.S., we provide services to more than half of the top 20 international banks. And I could go on and on about TSYS. We like to think of ourselves as our company as a great place to work. We've won a lot of awards for that over the years. We don't have it perfected yet, but we do believe that is part of our secret sauce, is trying every day to be a better place for our people to work. And we still have our warts and blemishes, but we are working on them, and we get credit for that with our people. We're headquartered in Columbus, Georgia. I'm not going to ask for you to raise your hands if you've ever been to Columbus. It's about 90 miles southwest of Atlanta, right on the Chattahoochee River. People don't get to Columbus accidentally. They really have to plan it out. Our air service is not nearly as good, but we run a pretty good shuttle from Columbus to Atlanta on a regular basis. We also have offices in Atlanta. We have a big development shop out in Kennesaw, and we have a loyalty and prepaid operation in Alpharetta. So we're excited about that. We have about 8,000 plus employees, half of them which are located in the state of Georgia. In 2010, we closed out our year with about $1.7 billion in revenue. We've survived the recession fairly well, and we really feel like we're starting to come out of that. But I've been asked today to talk about why Georgia, and I hope I didn't get here in time to get a lesson on this. Why Georgia? We've had people tell us for years, pundits have been telling us that you cannot be located in Columbus, Georgia, or even Georgia early on, and be a successful technology company. And we beg to disagree with that. We think we've been very successful, and we are, I believe, very high tech, but we've actually had a lot of people debate that with us over the years. We've had attractive offers from many states to move pieces of our business, and we do have operations in other states, but the vast majority of our real operations on an international basis is right here in Georgia. We believe Georgia is a great place to live and work, but we also believe that it provides a great quality of life for our people, and we do believe in that balance between work and family. But in addition to those facts, the truth is Georgia actually is a great place to do business. It's provided TSYS and other technology companies significant incentives over the years. Through the years, we've learned to take an active role, and I'm thrilled to see TAG doing the same thing, but an active role in politics. It's important. I can't tell you, if you haven't been to Washington, D.C. lately, you need to get up there and you need to talk to your senators and congressmen, because, in my opinion, it's out of control. We were up there last week for about 3 days. But anyway, getting back to Georgia, first, the state law classifies electronic processing income in a way that's very favorable to Georgia-based companies. It's a big plus for us. Georgia also provides numerous tax credits for hiring and retraining and research and development and child care. We have a huge child care operation, and we get tax credits for the entire operation. It's really a neat process that they've allowed us to do. Georgia also provides an exemption for state sales and use taxes for the purchase of high-tech computer-related equipment that are located in the state. Frankly, all that is really good news, and the state provides even more than that I'm not going to go into, but I wanted to give you the benefit of several experiences that we've had personally. First of all, in the early 90s, we had a lot of state laws change, and South Dakota and Delaware changed their laws to make it very attractive and very profitable if you would move your credit card operation to those states. And it was substantial. As a way of proving that, I mean, the two largest employers today in Delaware and South Dakota are the credit card industry. We had several current clients and prospective clients that were putting pressure on us that they were either going to have to take a look at moving away from us, or they weren't going to come to us as a result of us not having big operations in those states. And it became a real problem for us. It became such a problem that we You just put up 10 minutes. I could talk for 20 minutes about my trip on the way up here. Anyway, we could talk about we were days away from signing a deal in Newark, Delaware. In the meantime, we'd been talking to the Georgia powers to be, and to our surprise, very, very quickly they changed the state law to allow folks like us to have the advantage that the other states did have. On a larger scale, several years ago, we were really short on technical talent. We opened up the operation in Kennesaw. It's worked very well for us, but it just wasn't enough pipeline of people for us. We had really incredible offers from North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama to move, and they had all these guarantees and incentives. During that process, we sat down with Governor Zell Miller and told him what our problem was, and we were going to have to move part of our operation out of the state. He asked us to give him 30 days. He pretty quickly showed up with the Chancellor of the University System of Georgia, the President of Columbus State University, and the folks at the Office of Economic Development. Shortly thereafter, they presented what we call the ICAP program. The university system provided the computers, CSU provided the facility and the professors, we provided the requirements for the technical curriculum for a 6-month crash course. The state also provided a $10,000 stipend for everyone who graduated from this course. We had tens of thousands of applications for these positions, from California to Maine to South Florida. We actually put about 1,200 people through that program, and it worked very, very successfully and became a model for many states throughout the country. So it's the easy thing for the state of Georgia would have been to say, sorry, we hate to see you go. They didn't do that. You've seen this slide a lot, and I'm gonna have to skip through some of this, but Atlanta has become, in particularly, a real center for financial technology. And when I say Atlanta, I do include Columbus in that. We've got over 100 companies in this sector. They generate $34 billion plus annually in revenues, have a value of over $83 billion, and we're proud to be one of them. We have a very deep history in the state of Georgia at supplying financial technology back to the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s even. A great example of that is NCR relocating to this state. They put their manufacturing operation in Columbus. They've located their corporate offices here in Atlanta. I had one thing that I did want to leave you with, and most of the audience here, I would say you're very tech savvy. You use technology in your business every day. And my challenge is to you, as you get larger and as you get older, is to don't get too set in your ways. I want to read you some quotes, and excuse me for reading this, but these are actual quotes. This telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communications. The device is inherently of no value to us. Western Union internal memo. This came from Charles Dewey, who was the commissioner of the U.S. Patent Office, or the Office of Patents. In 1899, he writes that everything that can be invented has been invented. The founder of Warner Brothers Pictures in 1927 says, "Who the hell wants to hear actors talk?" Thomas Watson, the famous Thomas Watson who founded IBM in 1943, said, "I think there's a world market for maybe 5 computers." Now think about that. The editor of the business books for Prentice Hall in 1957 said, "I've traveled the length and breadth of this country and talked with the best people, and I can assure you that this data processing is a fad and won't last the year. An engineer at IBM in 1968 in their Advanced Computing Systems division says, and he's talking about the microchip, which had just been invented. He said, but what is it good for? Now, Bill Gates in 1981, 640K ought to be enough for anybody. I mean, this thing's probably got 640K. As you get older and as you grow more mature in your companies, we all reach certain points that we're unable to meet the challenges if we're not really on top of it and willing to change and really look at what's happening in the world around you. And the great times are when you're growing and when you're starting up. The hardest is when you mature and you have to try to keep that joy that you have when you're starting up and when you're young in the business. So I would say the danger is when rules of bureaucracy and those types of things start to take hold and you start saying no more than you say yes. And I think that will happen to every successful company in this room if you don't monitor it very carefully. I would like to thank you for allowing me to be with you today. It's always great to see what's going on in the world. I've enjoyed seeing the exhibits outside, and I hope that I've met about 5 people who are from Columbus here, and I hope that if you get an opportunity, you'll come see us. We have a beautiful campus right on the Chattahoochee River. I would like to thank you for cleaning up that river some. And thank you for letting me be with you today.